Hi, Eric Lanask here, coming to you from CompTel 2011 in Las Vegas. And I'm happy to be joined today by Jeff Boozer from CHR Solutions. Jeff, thanks for joining me. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
I know you were telling me that CHR is going through a little bit of a, almost I guess, a rebranding exercise. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. CHR is actually the combination and the result of several mergers and acquisitions that have happened over the last several years. More specifically, a company called CHR Solutions, which was an engineering and consulting company based out of Dallas that had been in the business since year 1970. Came together with a company out of Houston called Global One Source, was in the data center business, serving a lot of enterprises, cloud computing strategies, etc. About 4 years ago, those two companies came together, and in 2009, at the late part of the year, that company merged with Martin Group, which is another company that had been around for about 40 years serving the telecom industry. Together we created CHR Solutions and are now focused on outsourcing in the industry from a very strategic perspective. We're one of the few companies that can actually take you all the way from design, build, operate, turnover, through regulatory consulting, financial consulting, strategic planning, and provide the tools in the form of BSS and OSS software that allows you to not only light your network, but provide applications and services on it. And we do that in both a hosted model or a delivered model.
So on which side are you seeing more adoption or more interest these days, the hosted or the on-prem?
Definitely cloud is becoming everybody's delivery method of choice. What makes us a little different is we take the cloud and merge it with a lot of strategic expertise and resourcing to not just provide you a tool, but actually do some real business process or business strategy kind of services.
Who's your target customer?
Historically, we've been very active in the rural independent space. Over the last several years, we've moved more to the competitive carrier, dealing with a lot of the new entrants, the broadband entrants that are purely on the IP side, those kinds of companies. A lot of companies that are getting new to the business.
Is that a function of the growth and the restructuring of the company?
Yeah, and as well as it's a function of the industry as a whole. It's evolving pretty rapidly. The competitive space is where most of the action is. The independents are looking at a changing business model, and they've got to either move up or do some things differently. So it's, we have to adapt our strategies to serve our market.
So as some of these people are looking at, like you said, evolving business models, what's the biggest challenge, or what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys help them with?
Wow, that runs a pretty broad range, but right now the focus is on deploying new broadband. So it's not only a construction exercise, but it's now what do I do with it once I have it in the ground and running to monetize the whole broadband network. We spend a lot of time with people working with them from marketing, pre-construction, all the way through to deploying new apps on a service delivery platform with self-care so a customer can actually log on and purchase something directly. So we'll take you from A to Z.
Do you work with wireless and wireline carriers?
Yes, we do.
You see more interest from one versus the other these days?
Well, right now, because of the artificial stimulus of the stimulus money, there's a lot of activity in a more traditional carrier space at the moment, but that's, I think, a momentary blip. Once those get in the ground and all those networks come online, wireless is always the most dynamic from a push-the-envelope perspective.
Just about anybody that I've talked to really believes in the theory that the future is all about apps. And it sounds like that's a lot of what's driving your business right now as well.
One of our key strategies that we think is important to the industry and that we focus a lot of our efforts on is the content. What is your content strategy? Wireless is good at that, or better at that than the rest of us may be, but the wired side, the traditional carriers and the broadband carriers have got to adopt the same model. Content is king, apps are content. So,
absolutely. Anything exciting that you can talk about that we can look forward to from CHR in the coming months?
Speaking of wireless, take a look at our Net America initiative. Net America is a related company to us that we've created and spun off that is actually working with the carriers out that own 700 megahertz as a way to come together and provide an alternative strategy to provide wireless as opposed to the big 4, now 3 carriers, as we've heard this morning. So,
absolutely, big news, as you mentioned. What, from your perspective, what impact is that AT&T T-Mobile deal going to have on the market?
Geez, I'm not sure I'm smart enough to have figured all of that out yet, but without a doubt it takes and puts a lot more pressure on anyone who doesn't have a wireless strategy in their mix to go find something. Again, and that's part of what we're doing with the Net America, is giving people that alternative. So.
Excellent. Well, I certainly look forward to hearing more. We've been talking here at CommTel in Las Vegas 2011 with Jeff Boozer from CHR. Jeff, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.